On behalf of the American Athletic Conference, we'd like to congratulate you, Geno, on your 900th win. That's a great accomplishment. Way to go, bud.
UConn head coach Geno Auriemma picked up his 900th win last week against Cincinnati. 900 is a big number, but what makes this number so impressive is how Coach Auriemma inherited this UConn program. It didn't always look quite as easy as it does today for the Huskies. Auriemma arrived in stores in 1985, where the women's basketball team had only posted one winning season ever. But improvements came almost immediately. The Huskies went 12-15 in Coach Auriemma's first season, and that was the last losing season for the Huskies. UConn has finished above 500 for 28 consecutive seasons. 5 of those were undefeated seasons, and you can tack on 2 NCAA record streaks of 90 and 70 consecutive wins. And you can't forget the 9 national championships and 15 Final Fours in his time there. This stuff on paper doesn't look real, but it is. And he has changed the game in collegiate women's basketball forever. Former Syracuse head coach Barbara Jacobs, now the Associate Commissioner for Women's Basketball at the American, remembers seeing Geno and his team for the first time back in 1986.
Actually, I did. When he first came into the conference, I remember the going to the Big East Championship that year, which was 1986. And the year before we had won, Syracuse had won in 1985. And when his team came into the hotel, they were all dressed alike, and everybody was making fun of them. And I kept thinking, he's really disciplining this group, and they're going to all do what he wants them to do. That kind of scared me a little bit. And the more I got to know him and the more I watched the way that he coached, I knew he was going to be great.
It took 10 seasons, but the long wait was definitely worth it. Coach Auriemma and some all-time greats like Rebecca Lobo and Jennifer Rosati finally won the national championship in 1995 and posted their first of many undefeated seasons to come.
The first national championship was probably the best memory that I have. It was really unexpected because the team that he had wasn't extremely talented, but they were talented enough, and they just got the job done. And for them to win the national championship that year was an unbelievable feat. And I just remember seeing him after the game, and the grin on his face was from ear to ear. And then he said, at one point he said, "Well, now we made it, now we got to stay here." And that's the mark of him. It's like people climb to that, they get there, and they think that they've made it. His first reaction is, "Well, we got this one, but now we got to go after another." So, amazing.
Coach Auriemma demands excellence from his players and from his staff, but he demands excellence from himself as well. And that's the mentality he brings to the court each day.
His legacy will be that if you want to be great, you have to strive for perfection, and you have to do it every single day. And no matter what you do, you have to do it every single day.
You know, when I was a freshman, realizing that, you know, me thinking I'm working hard was not actually working as hard as I possibly could. And, you know, the coaches helped make me realize that. And once I was able to, you know, once I step on the court, I'm working as hard as I possibly can and getting better at something. Things started, you know, going up from there.
UConn has proven themselves, and they don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. And if history has any indication of what good can come from having a program like UConn in your conference, this should help build American women's basketball as a whole.
Well, it's a little bit different than back then. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but the schools that are now in the American have the opportunity to strive for excellence and to try to go toward perfection. And if you don't strive for that perfection, you're never going to get better. And there they are. They're up there. Connecticut's there. Go after them.
For as long as most can remember, the Huskies have had a target on their back, but they've also had Coach Auriemma on their side. Even with Auriemma leading the way, he will tell you that it's up to his veteran experience on the court.
Last year was great, but, you know, this year it's a new year, it's a new team, so you can't, you know, things have to change. You know, there's new players, new roles, that kind of thing. So you can't, you know, compare it to last year's team. But at the same time, at Connecticut, our goal every year is a national championship, and that's what we're going to try to work for day in and day out.
it's usually about the seniors. You know, what do you guys want? How do you want this thing to play out this year? And you get a chance to write that story. It's not already written for you. And you know, UConn basketball is a long movie. It's a really thick book. And you get to add your chapter to it. And is that a chapter that everybody's going to want to read? Or is it one that people are going to just skip over? It's up to you.
The postseason isn't far away, and the country will be watching and waiting to see if UConn can do it again. The Huskies are in search of their 10th national championship, and if they get it, it would be their 5th title in 10 years. Pretty amazing stuff. For the American Digital Network, I'm Haley Outen.